It's my pleasure today to introduce our featured speaker to you, Katherine Wagner. Katherine is the CEO of the Business Council for the Arts. We've just recently discovered that our year anniversary was yesterday. I met Katherine 1 year ago yesterday, so I'm delighted to be here to introduce Katherine. In her role, Katherine advocates for a strong bond between the for-profit business community and the nonprofit arts and cultural community. Katherine began her career in arts administration at Indiana University Bloomington as the director of the community gallery on the campus there. Currently, Katherine serves on advisory boards of the Creative Arts Center, ArtSpace Dallas, the North Texas Commission, the Mexico Institute, and the Private Sector Council of Americans for the Arts. Every time Katherine and I have a conversation, I feel like I need a pen and a notebook to capture some of her creativity and some of the insights that she has, and I'm sure everyone will feel that same way after her talk today. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I am so glad to be here today for so many different reasons. I was really looking forward to being your speaker before today, but seeing the art that you have created is so incredibly impressive, and I actually began my life as an artist. I can really appreciate what you do, and it is excellent. So I would like to just have a hand of applause for those of you that are artists and those of you supporting the artists. I see a piece I want to buy, and so I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to be preempted. So I want to thank Russell Cruz, Denise Aver-Phillips, Jennifer Griffin, and especially James for inviting me today. And I want to give a special shout out to some friends that I have in the audience. So Eli Lawrence, I am so happy to see you. Celine Raphael Legg, I don't know where you are. Ruth Anderson and your friend Lena. There you are. Okay, fantastic. Laura Bartos. So all wonderful artists. So I'm going to talk to you about finding your place on the cultural map. And this really resonates with me in terms of what you all are doing at CC Young. I loved seeing the map. So that kind of leads into this, because the map that you just saw of the promise of what CC Young is going to be had green spaces around every single building. And that is so very important to health and to creativity. So I wanted to start with our talk about mapping and creativity from the inside out. And I wanted to share a study that means so much to me. I have read Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's, and I can give you the spelling later, books for many years. He is a Czech-born psychologist. His name actually means Michael St. Michael. And so what I'd like you to do is think about your inner self, and I would like you to think about those times when you are engaged in something where time seems to pass so quickly you don't even know that hours have gone by. I want you to think about those times where you don't really even notice yourself in an activity, but on reflection after the activity, you feel this great and profound sense of satisfaction. Anybody recognize those times in anything that you do? Okay, yes. So the studies that Mihai Csikszentmihalyi did actually started with artists, because he found that artists were the cohort, the group of people that most readily could put themselves into this sense of flow. And so his studies are really the science of flow, beginning in the 1970s. If you're in flow, and you kind of map that on the inside, you will not notice time passing and so forth. If you're not in flow, you might feel either boredom. So watching television, it's really engaging sometimes, but once you've finished watching that television, do you feel any sense of satisfaction most of the time? No. That is not being in flow. That's called boredom. There are other activities that we engage in, and we feel anxiety when we do them. And that's because those activities are above our skill level. When we're in flow, we actually feel no anxiety and no boredom. Whatever we're doing is within our capability to meet that challenge, but just slightly above it. So if you're interested in making the arts and you're interested in entering the arts, don't start with, I want to be Da Vinci next week. Start with something that really engages you. Is color what engages you? I think it's what engages Ruth. Is form or nature what engages you? And look intrinsically into that and give yourself small challenges and notice whether you're feeling anxiety or boredom and then try and adjust to that. Oh, Elizabeth Shalish, I'm sorry. And it's great to see another colorist. So internally, you can map yourself, you can adjust your challenges, and you can become somebody who is in flow. And that can apply either to producing the arts or some other activity. But that activity has to give you a little bit of challenge. So there may be some great chefs in this group. I know that there are some people involved in crafts. It may be something that you're doing that is even exercise-oriented. If you really will get into it and give yourself those little challenges, you will be in that state of flow. I wanted to also look at external mapping and a little bit about C.C. Young and share another study that I find so interesting and so pertinent to each of you. I'm really proud that this study was done by a Texas professor. So this is a study that was done at Texas A&M by a fellow named Roger Ulrich. Roger Ulrich he was studying the effect of nature. He found a hospital where one entire wing of the hospital was only for gallbladder recovery. So that's a constant, right? He never met a patient, never talked to a patient, nothing anecdotal about this. He looked at 9 years' worth of records, and he found that people whose rooms looked over a garden versus people whose rooms looked over concrete had almost an entire day earlier release from the hospital. That's one of the reasons that your map that shows C.C. Young surrounded by green space is so very important. And that's one of the reasons that it's so important that C.C. Young is here in East Dallas, which is so verdant, has so many, has the lake, has old trees, has this wonderful feel of nature. He also found that people that are surrounded by nature in this way and that look out on nature need fewer painkillers. So, truly, that's so interesting. So for a fact, not anecdotal. And specifically, he looked at analgesics. So people whose rooms looked out onto green space could use tablet analgesics for their pain, which are less powerful than injected analgesics. And that also, those are more expensive. So that also led to cost savings. So you can actually say that looking onto nature saves money. So why is this important to art? It's because it was the study that led to the following studies of evidence-based art and how important art is in mimicking the effects of nature. So there are many, many, many of you today who did incredible renderings and translations of nature. Those can have the same effect as looking at nature. So I was just talking to your first prize winner who does beautiful photographs of nature, mockingbirds and flowers and so forth. Those will have the same effect as if you have a window looking out on green. The other thing that I really love about C.C. Young right now and what you're doing is your sculpture pavilion. One of the things I'm always interested in is public art. And how does public art define a space? And mapping is about defining spaces. So your Spirit is Ageless Pavilion is a wonderful example of public art being brought into a community that puts you on the map along with the entire other roster of great public art that we have in the city of Dallas. The Henry Moore at City Hall, the Henry Moore at North Park Center, the pieces at the Nasher Sculpture Center. You now are a part of that entire environment. So you actually live in this larger world of public art and community. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the amount of color that I saw in your work today. So getting back to studies of color, we have, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gensler, a design group, architecture group in Dallas. They published a white paper in talking about the spaces that we live in And color is really important. In fact, if you want to have a heightened sense of energy, if you want to have a heightened accuracy in writing or in the workforce or at home, you should use bright colors. Put bright colors around you. So I saw many artworks like that. Maps are finally used to direct us to the places that we want to be. And so, yes, art serves many functions, but creating community to me is the most important function of art. And I think that that's what C.C. Young has done so well. Art brings together different generations. It brings together different hierarchies. It brings together the patron, and it brings together the emerging artist. It brings together people of all walks of life. And that's something I'm seeing done here so well. And what I really love is the reception and the party, in addition, because it gives you all a chance to get to know who is doing what, whose talents come from what place, and how does that relate to the entire person. So you're really forming this incredible network through the fact that you are artists and you are musicians. I feel also that there's a tremendous amount of learning being done here, just like Picasso always learned from Matisse. And Picasso learned so much from Matisse that actually Matisse did not even want Picasso in his studio anymore. But you have so many great artists here, and I really hope that those of you that are accomplished artists will help to mentor people that are just entering their art making. But in sum, what I want to say is that this place and this time offers a tremendous opportunity, not just to the lucky ones of you who actually live here, but to our whole East Dallas, as you put it, garden, what was it? Lake and Garden District. All right, bravo. You are a tremendous nexus for all of that in Dallas. To the extent that you might want to volunteer and share that, please let me know, because you have tremendous talents, and I would help to bring those to further our community. So a bravo to C.C. Young, a bravo to all of the artists, a bravo to your supporters, and please keep on making the wonderful art that you're doing. Thank you.